Usayo bona wodwa, obe wawo papa, kada kada. That's okay, okay, that's okay. Hey, I'm better. You're very far. Good evening. Oh. That's okay. Aha. It's in here. I mean, when me kick it. What's it? Good evening to all of you. We're having another edition and the 1 billion. I like opening it, and the 1 billion. About our time. Um, Good evening to Osas Ernst, Classy Mose, Dewey Ofo, Kelvin Abi, Lawrence Gostheim, Ella Johanna, um, Oya Bota, Oya Domo. Oh, I had a Hmm. Crystal Science, call time, Obota. Hmm. Before we start, before we start, I'd like to thank all of you who are already available for today's program. Waya Bokia, Infinity Queen, uh, Obota, Oselu Reporters, Binoba, Nomi, No, Omi, Kingsley, sorry, Komoba, Domo, Amogun, Mr. Teddy, Goma, uh, um, same to you, Miss Joshua, Agbenoga, Mr. Paul Philip. Oh, sorry, Oshoka best. Maybe because I'm used to the other of your name. Good evening to you. Today, they are not definitive topic. My brother, Mr. Osahon Omo Dion, thank you for joining us once again today, man. Domo Domo. Uh, am I making an ambassador? Wow. Uh, Wa barita with oil by Lunu West, at least the Hoyama mobile me will may have ye Mickey me. This I should be entitled to milk, children's milk holiday by Nyaya Coco or more ame. No mewa ame Megide milk or to Samson Balogun Accra. Okay, I was gonna speak on Accra. I would definitely will have to journey. I'll start making earnest preparation. So um is to make preparation to go to the Obeneshimo Festival in the month of July by the Gap people. We're already in talk, but I definitely would not want to miss it. We have elected the palace by the grace of God and our ancestors. The palace, His Majesty has requested for a proposal so that to look at feasibility study or probably whether I'll be going with some chiefs. I'm hoping, I'm prayerful that this year's edition of my journey or our journey to furtherly solidify what we've been trying to do for the past 3 years with our GA people in Accra takes even a huge step this year. So we are very, very happy that by God's grace, by the providence of God and our ancestors, His Royal Majesty might, not definitive, might send some chiefs to accompany me and some other GBD members to Accra this year. All right. Well, that is still on the pipeline. Hopefully, in the next 1 week or 2 weeks, we'll be very certain about it because it's very close. And by next week, Sunday, we should talk about it in proper on my trip to Accra this year. And so also to also extend my hand of fellowship to every Edo sons and daughters who can be able to take care of his or her logistics, can also accompany me to Accra this year. And so we can, these things are basically voluntary. So we can be able to meet with our people this year and also participate in a festival that reenact the relationship we have with the Gap people. That one is also on the pipeline, and I'm hoping I'm able to seal all of that. I'm hoping I'm able to seal all of that this week, so that by on Sunday I should be able to be definitive. Uh, let's say for you all, not minding the time of the day. Aro Anthony, I think you reached out to me the other time. You made inquiries about how you wanted to get the Benin Red Book. I remember. Sorry, I couldn't reply. I have issues about replying text messages. I read them, and when I see those names, I'm able to recall the sort of conversations. The Benin Red Book is quite on the high side, but we're hoping to get a low version of it. Uh, I have an access to a copy, but that copy, it's a library copy. It's a copy for the Institute for Benin Studies. But by month of June, I should be able to get a free copy from one of the respectable chiefs in the palace. He wanted to give me a gift. He said I called into him for. He asked me for all of the things that you've been doing for our people. What do you want me to give you as a gift? And I was like, you have access to the Benin Red Book. You have quite a lot of copies. I would want a copy because I would like to have a copy of the Benin Red Book since I'm building my private library. And so I would like to have a copy of the Benin Red Book. So very soon I should have a free copy of the Benin Red Book. But it's quite on the high side. That I agree. But we're hoping that we're able to make copies of these books that are not too expensive, so that each and every adult man and woman, wherever they are located, as descendants or whatever, should be able to have a copy of them. Um, uh, well, Dr. Christopher Yamu, first, I get angry when some people think that what pisses me off the most is when some people think that some people are more Benin than some people. I am not more Benin than you are. You have the same stake in Benin Kingdom like I do have. So we have the same equal stake. So if presenters or people are not speaking about it, you should start speaking about it. There is no one tells me I'm not being paid to speak about the things I speak about. So I am at liberty to speak about the things that I want to speak about. People don't speak about things not because they don't want to speak about, maybe because they feel that speaking about it might not bring the necessary result. But like I said, everyone can't speak about it. I'm worried about it as well. All right. But I also implore you, as also a Benin son or daughter, I don't know, you can also speak about it. So let's not have an attitude wherefore we believe that some certain persons must have to speak about some certain things before it is authentic. This is a problem that is affecting us as a people. So they are not delegates, they are not people that are choosing that was handpicked, or there was no committee that was set up for some certain people to speak about it. All right. So if it's otherwise not speaking about it, you can speak about it, and we can all join our voices to back you up. So that's what I mean. So we shouldn't make it sound as if okay na nu guan kaimi na or na guan kaimi na we guan kai and boya do guan kai. So I don't want people to always feel that some people are more patriotic than the other. We are all patriotic, you get. We are all patriotic. Aren't we patriotic? Aren't you a patriotic Benin person? Don't you want Edo to move forward? Don't you want Edo to get rid of all of these insecurity crises? I presume that's what you are looking for. That's what we are looking for. So I think we should all be speaking about it. We're all patriotic Edo persons. We should all lend our voices to some critical aspects of some societal issues. You get. So, uh, uhun, uhun, aha dolewu yi agbonya zi okugbe oku bokugbe na ya dolewu yi. Aro nkpa dolewu yi nevu na den. But aro nkpa me ba mwe soe o. Aro nkpa me ba soe. But only ma ri ma we um agbonya meba dozi okugbe na ya agwalotemi noria we dogbo ni mayena. Uh, so gbogbo na abi azi o kan na agbonya we do no kan abi gwan kan. So why since you've not kan agbonya I gwan kan. So I'm trying to relate with you on the basis of a dual language. So I feel it's a problem for everybody. So everybody should collectively speak about it. So I think that's my little contribution or explanation to the question you proceeded. uh, yeah, I do not doubt your curiosity about needing the book. I don't have the power. The books are available, only that it's expensive. I don't have the power to influence the price of the book. All right. Obviously, you saw the cost of the book on Amazon. If you're buoyant enough, you can order for it. Otherwise, I don't have the influence. I can't influence the price of the book. I don't have such power. The power rests on the shoulders of the Benin Traditional Council to be able to review the price of the book. All right. I only hope that we can be able to write letters or can be able to petition, not petition now, we can be able to write letters hoping and pleading that they can be able to see reasons why everybody should the price should be. It's not about the price though, it's the quality of the book. Maybe you've not seen the book. The book it's a high quality, probably one of the most high quality books you can ever get anywhere else in the world. That I can guarantee. It's the quality. I wish I had a copy. I would have been able to show you. It's the quality of the book. That's why it's so expensive. It's the quality of the book. It's bogus. Everything is it's bold. I don't know. It's I'm not into graphics. I should be able to have explained it to you. It's a book that you want to read and finish in. It's appetizing. It's beautiful. It's just amazing. Oh, Nepal. John, John, you know it. My this is they connected to my man. Not here for. Add my phone, John. On the channel now. Okay. If you add my phone, John. For real. Hello? For my I do. Okay. On my kind of wire or on my. Oh, okay. Well, you know. Okay. Oh, oh, no. Why am I not on? Okay. Thank you. Overdose me. Uh-huh. All right. Okay. Sorry for the break in transmission. Um, Nepal. So I will explain all of that. I think we cannot proceed to um, discussing um, the topics for today. So we're going to be having an open forum where people can throw in questions and can ask general interactive section so we can discuss a bit of some few questions that you have in mind. The ones I'm able to answer, we could just trash them so we can close. I'm trying to open with another of my phone because I'm not seeing people's comments anymore. So, do come on, come on. So I can be able to. Okay. Okay. So we have an open. Okay. So we have an open. let's let's ask questions, and so that we can discuss some of the few questions. And so today is an interactive section. So it's an open thing for people to call in through. You call in through so that we can have questions. We can have our questions, and we can um, attempt to answer some of them. Um, so we can Diana answer it. But meanwhile, share our video so that I think every person who are keen followers of our program should be able to share our video so that we can get even a stronger and larger audience. And for very interactive and educative programs like the uh, um, what they say second one CD. Whether it is second one, they are not it will be lovely. It's a pretty book. Um, most of the writers are my mentors. I know quite a lot of them. A lot of them. Quite a lot of them. Uh, Quite a lot of them. I know like 80% or 90% of the right authors of each of those chapters. A lot of them I look up to them. Um, they're really they're probably one of the best you can get around. So if you're interested in all green, you can order so that you can equip yourself and get more educated on some aspect of your of your Benin history. But meanwhile, we can we join an open line. So if you want to call through, you're free to call through. If you want to ask questions, you're free to ask questions. So let's make it as interactive as possible. So meanwhile, I hope the network is good because I'm having it's like the thing they skip. I hope the network is good. Someone confirm if the network is good, so we can proceed. And so, if you have any question, it's an interactive class. People should be very interested in getting. So once your question popping on, I'm using another phone. The questions are not popping up on the screen. Uh, okay, very good. Thank you. Network are not popping up on the screen, so I'm not. Question comments are not popping up on my screen, so I'm using the other phone. Uh, how can anyone change what was written by the Oba of Benin? I appreciate if you can get a copy. Thanks. Well, Arrow Anthony. Well, the truth is, um, do not blame our people for being very oversensitive because we've seen some times in recent times how people have been trying to deceptively understudy us as a people, only for them to do a 360-degree turnaround to winchult us. So everybody's now of like a suspect. I'm probably the only person who doesn't suspect anybody. I have a free mind. Uh, uh, I have a free mind to accommodate people until they prove to me uh, uh, um, until they prove to me otherwise. Please, I have a little question to ask. Please, I would like to know about a lot more about Enekirigidi Nogbelaka because someone told me that he was a brother to Oba Esege. You can also get one for the Great Benin Descendant Library. Well, That's not a bad idea. Benin Okbewo. The book is £160 in UK on Amazon. I have a little question too. Because someone told me that he was a brother to Oba Esigi. Uh, Enekirigidi Nobelaka. Well, first, what's his name? Osakbolo Igodao. It is very wrong. The person did not get his fact. His or her fact right by saying that Enekiridi Nobelaka was a brother to Oba Esigi. He couldn't have been a brother to Oba Esigi because factually, at the time Enekiridi Nobelaka had sway historically in Benin, I don't think Oba Esigi was born at that time. I don't think Oba Esigi's father, Ozola, was even born at that time. So the father of Oba Esigi, Obazola, wouldn't have been born at that. Almost, even if he was born, I don't think he would have been more than 5 years old because Ozola was the last child of Oba Ewai the first. And Enekiridi Nobelaka was one of the foot soldiers or Iyoko or Yoko of Oba Ewai the first. So he was already a full matured man. Ni Yoko Nedo ni Goba Ewai the first. Even before Ewai the first, and then later on gave birth to Ozola. A very typical example of Enekiridi Nobelaka. I don't like to drop inferences, but it happened recently. All right, where the now suspended Isehure. All right, the now suspended Isehure of Benin Kingdom, where thought he had allegedly, I'm using the word allegedly, allegedly was believed that like he cannot serve the father and also serve the son. That is, he was referring Obairi as the father and Obaiwai as the son. So Gira Gomo, amongst other numerous atrocities that he committed. But that's what allegedly was believed that was one of the crimes that he committed. Where if it is true, it was not the first time that it happened. Enekiridi Nobelaka also said so, that he cannot serve Oba Ewai and serve his son Ozola. So that's what led between the conflict between Oba Ozola and Enekiridi, that Ozola tried to defeat Enekiridi Nobelaka because he was a very powerful medicine man. He could not defeat. He needed to use his wife, Eyowo. Eyowo was the one who now revealed the secrets on your say all throughout history. I'm sorry, this is not a gender thing. All throughout history, men should not trust women. All throughout history, every man who has put their 100% secret in the hands of a woman, they all fell down, or they live to regret it. It also happened. Eyowo sold her husband to Ozola, to Oba Ozola. Sold with the conviction that he got away. Then he gladly sold the husband. So women generally, I'm sorry, but factually are not to be trusted that much, or not to be given, not to be unveiled. Some secrets are not meant to tell them. They're weaker vessels. So that's exactly what the Enekiridi did. He said he couldn't serve the father and serve the son. And that was a crisis that Ozola had with him. So at that time, Esige wasn't even born. So not saying that Esige is a brother to Inekridi Nobelaka would have been inappropriately, would have been factually not correct. Well, I think I would disagree. I don't know whether historically Ewaye never had any son. The last son of Ewaye, the first, was Ozolwa. Why it is, why I'm very certain of that history, why I'm very certain that the last son of Ewaye, the first, was Ozolwa, is because the Benin people never loved, never liked, never wanted Prince Okpame, who later became Obazola. Never. So if he had had a younger brother, they would have preferred that younger brother over him a million times. They never wanted him. So if Ozola really had a younger brother, the Obas, the Benin nobles and the chiefs would have gladly crowned him over Ozola. Ozola would never have been an Oba in Benin if he had a younger brother, because he was never liked. And that was true, because all the things that he was accused of, he eventually proved them right when he became the Oba of Benin. So I can authoritatively tell you, I understand that some of the Obas of Benin had sons that were not recorded in history. I'm quite aware of a lot of them. But from the findings, from facts, indelible facts, I'm very certain that the last child, the last son of Obaewa the First was Obazola. So I think Prince Nosaguero Nosaigi, I think I've been able to tell you, I'm certain that Egbede was not Obaewa's child, whether as middle child or last child. I'm very certain of that. I'm speaking from the perspective of fact. So I think I've been able to provide answers to some of the 2-3 questions that have been asked. And maybe another Oba, yes. Certainly another Oba. Not even maybe. If I'm not sure, I'll just tell you I'm not sure. Certainly another Oba. It was not Oba the First. Because I am very certain the Benis never wanted Obazola, who later became Obazola, to be an Oba. There were people the Benis never wanted to be an Oba. There are people, there are some kings that the Benis never wanted to be an Oba. A while, the Benin people never wanted it to be an Oba. Ewaye the First. Ozolwa, his son, the Benin people never, because Ozola was the favorite child of Ewaye. Just like Aroan was the favorite child of Ozolwa. Because they were warriors. They wanted people like them to take over the mantle of leadership. So, and the Benis never wanted people who were fearsome. The chiefs wanted people that they can control. So these Obas, I'm not saying anybody can control any Oba, but these Obas, they were in the world of their own. You can't predict them. You can't tell them what they want. They do what they want to do as at when it pleases them. So because of that, when you cannot bend some certain people, you will not want them. So, well, that could be the reason why they never wanted them. Not the Benin, basically. The Benin chiefs, the nobles. Let me put it that way. Is it true that our brothers from the Ora extraction doesn't bow or kneel down to the Oba because of Prince Obama connection? I read it in some platform. I've said it a million and thousand times with Selu reporters. I have extensively dealt on this very topic, that it is rather scandalous. It is rather like a blackmail for the Ora people to say that they don't kneel before the Oba of Benin or they don't bow before the Oba of Benin. First, bowing is not part of our history. We don't do Benin's don't bow before the Oba. Have you ever seen any Benin person? Have you ever seen a Benin person go to bow? We don't bow now. We don't bow. We are we are we are princes or so. So we don't bow before the Oba. Imara Bonoba. We pay obeisance, but we don't bow. We don't take our heads down. We kneel. Mairabo. If you are an Ehame, Unyo Bonoba. Imara Bonoba. We don't bow. So the concept of bowing is not even part of the extant tradition of the Edo people. We don't bow. We're not like Yorubas that bow. We don't bow. We Imara Bonoba. We kneel and we rub our palms to greet the Oba. If you are a chief, an enabled chief, you Unyo Bonoba, So that's how we greet our Oba. So first, bowing is not part of our tradition. So let's get that one clearly. Secondly, kneel. Kneeling, some exclusive rights of not kneeling was given to some princes of the realm. So if you're back, ordinarily, traditionally speaking, the princes and princesses, or princes generally, not princesses, not the princes, they don't kneel before the Oba. Ordinarily, that's what the traditions guarantee. I happen to know that fact because I've always said it before now that my ancestral home is at Oredo, Evieme. Evieme was a colony or sort of a guild or sort of an extraction that was created for the sons of the Obas of Benin who were neither a Daiken or a Nigi. So when the first son of the Oba becomes the next Oba, then some few of the sons of the Obas of Benin are sent to be a Nigi in different communities. But some of the remaining ones were stationed at a place called Avieme. So they were the princes. So I've had meetings with them, and they categorically told me that if you're by Digwetwoba, the sons of the realms, the princes. But if they do, it is on their own prerogative. It is not the right. It is not. People should not stand as they shouldn't blaspheme the throne by saying that we don't bow, we don't kneel. Yes, they are exclusive right for such. There were some exclusive right that were granted to the princes of the realm. All right, because the Ora people are the sons of the Obas, so that grants them, not the female. That right was not given to the princesses, were given to the princes. All right, so that exclusive right was given to the princes of the realm. But because of Bazola was also an Oba and he had children and he had a son who gave birth to what we now call the Ora people of today. So that makes the Ora people generally princes, just like most people in Benin are princes. If you're back, they're more. The Lamogun family should be the largest family in Benin Kingdom of all the Ba 53 families. The Lamogun family should be one of the biggest. Even the Ora people are Lamogun family. They are also extension of the Lamogun family. So, but these were the exclusive right that was given to them in the past. But such things no longer prevail because I don't even see that as even important or necessary that if I go to see the Oba because I was a prince, I came from the lineage of one of the Oba, probably Oba Ensoyen or probably Oba Akenguda. That makes me not feel that I will not kneel before my Oba. It's my Oba for crying out loud. So because of that right was given exclusively does not give it a yardstick that I will now have to disrespect the throne by blaspheming or by utterly believing that it's my right not to. So I'm not saying what the Ora people think that they have is the same right that was given to all princes of the realm. So it is not exclusively for the Ora people. It was for the princes of the realm. All right. I think I've answered that question. J-Boy Arian, okay, about the rebuilding the palace to a world standard palace. I don't know what you meant by that. I think I've been trying to correct you on some certain ideas you have. You don't destroy an history to create another history. It is not a sign of intelligence or wisdom. It is more or less foolishness. You don't destroy. There is so much history that is attached to the Ogbe soil that you can never find anywhere. See, the 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 concept of the palace is imbued with the history of Ogbe. So the palace is not a four wall that has no history. That has no history. For the fact that you want to create an history, okay, you want the palace to be more luxurious. In tandem with what standard? I'm still thinking that why didn't the British people destroy the Buckingham Palace so that they can build it in a probably in more sophisticated areas of London? I don't know why Africans tend to look at what is theirs as archaic, as not being relevant. Do you know that when a new wall was being done around the palace, I Izodowa protested against the new wall? Why wasn't the old wall left? Because the old wall is an hallmark of our history. Laterite, Ulakba. The old wall was made of Ulakba, and that is the very foundation of our history. Why scatter the foundation of our history in replacement of modern tandem? What is the rationale? Why should we compete with other people? Why should we compete? We didn't compete with other people at that time. Other people competed with us. Other people copied our intelligence. Why do we not have to compete with other people? All right. The palace is not just a palace. The palace history cannot survive alone without his history being situated at the Ogbe soil. And there's so much history that is attached. For example, I'll give you one example. I could have given you 10 examples, but let me just give you one. For example, no human being is buried at the Ogbe soil except the Oba of Benin. Hence, there is an ancient parable, I go above Ogbe. The homestead of every Oba of Benin is the Ogbe. Because of that, any part of Benin that you are, the Ogbe. Ogbe is the home of every Edo man. Of every Odo man. Wherever you are, if you're in the palace is at Ogbe. You still will say Idiogbe. You can't say Idiowa. That means you say you want to go commit suicide. You say Idiogbe. Wherever you are in Benin, rightly speaking, you say Idiogbe. That means Ogbe is a home for every person. In the consequences of trying to build something that you think should be world standard, in quote, world standard, they want to remove the history and render every other history before that history useless. So it's not, I try not to argue with you, but I try to just tell you that it is not a smart thing to even conceive. It is not a smart thing to talk about. There might be 101 reasons why you think the palace should be moved. There are 1,000,001 reasons why they shouldn't be moved. We should be more interested in the preservations of the little history that we still have, or keep the ones that we still have now intact, rather than destroy them in the consequences of modernizations and civilizations that is not of our own making. We grew in the time past out of the civilization of our own making. We didn't grow with the pace of the world or other ancient civilizations of the world. We grew according to the civilizations that God and our ancestors has bequeathed to us. So we shouldn't destroy that in order for which to create another one. Why does the Benin banish Oko Okpane? Because he was allegedly to have committed, to have killed his nephew, Owe, not his mom, his nephew, Owe. That is Ezoti's son, only child, Owe. Um, Well, there's no recorded history, Aro Anthony, that Genoa had any child here in Benin before he left. If he had a child under the law that was established by his grandfather, Obayawari, it still would have made it impossible for his child to even, he himself was not even considered to be an Oba of Benin. So it would have been almost impossible for his child. His child might have been considered later on in history for the throne, but Genoa himself was not a crown prince, was not considered to be an Oba in Benin. So he doesn't, like what the Shekiri people try to tell, Genoa has no legitimate claim or right to the throne. So I'm sure she was never an heir apparent. Genoa was never an heir apparent, and that's why his father allowed him to go. You don't allow the heir apparent to go to establish another place, another dukedom or another kingdom. So Genoa was not an heir apparent. I think I've lectured quite some of my Shekiri scholars. They are scholars too. We have had an extensive debate on the matter, and I told them why Genoa was not an heir apparent. So it's wrong for them to say that Genoa has a claim to the throne of Benin. No, he never did. I think Obayawari had children outside Benin when he was a prince on the journey to recover the throne from his brother. Well, if he does have no Saguero, I cannot doubt the authenticity of your claim, but it illegitimizes them. Yes, it illegitimizes them. The children not recognized. That's even because that's the reason why Ogwan, who is the father of the Ora people, was not even also recognized as a crown prince in Benin. It illegitimizes them. So there's a possibility that he had all the children, but they were not recognized to history, or they were illegitimate children of his. All right, because Mari Iyinyayowa. Okay, they want to Europeanize our power. But when I think about it, okay, I think I've answered that. Uh, how the Ugwakbata haircut came about in Benin. I think I have a first class information about the Ugwakbata the hairdo, but I'm not able to remember in details. I'm not able to remember in details, but in our next class, I have a book on Ugwakbata, the origin of Ugwakbata. I should be able to, I'll glance through during the week, and next week I should be able to provide an extensive answer on the origin of Ugwakbata. My brother Ken uh, I do not disagree with you, J. Boyerian. It's not an old form. An old form could have been easily built upon to create. I was going to work on a plan 3 years ago. That time, my mentor, Dr. Aisene Hagos, I was still alive. I gave him a proposal at that time that the Benin has a way we build our house. We have an architectural pattern. Why can't we let's bring the best young architecturals of Benin extract to be able to look at those old architectural patterns of Benin. You find a way to modernize these old architectural patterns without losing its originality. So you see, we'll be able to, in the houses, I was looking forward to having that project, that in a house you build a house as a Benin man, it will still have that it will still have that Otewodo Ikun, but while having the Otewodo and Ikun, it will not be a modernized version of how it is, but there will still be Otewodo. Maybe the Otewodo will not have a green covered roof. All right, will not have a green covered roof where You can now play chess game. Instead of where it's supposed to be a water inlet, you could close up that. You could see it's an open space, but it will have a transparent green covered roof. It's an hotel though, but now you are able to you're able to have a feel, even if not in the reality, because at the time they wanted the inlet of proper ventilation, an inlet of water, and inlet to trap water, and as well to trap proper ventilation. Now you could get proper ventilation from air conditions and fans, so you really don't need the water to pass through, but you can still create that hotel though inside your house and now have a green whatever, very well beautiful. Then you can have your snorkel board and all of that. So you've been able to add a flavor of modern ideas into what the Benin architectural pattern was. That was the project I was going to work on 3 years. I procrastinated a lot, so I couldn't see that project through. So these are some of the things that we should be talking about. No one, if the palace could have a feel of today's idea, but without losing the originality of our architectural pattern, but taking the palace out of Ogbe is a no. It's not. It doesn't even make sense. It doesn't even make sense. I talked about Ado, the first Oba of Lagos. I talked about Ado, the first Oba of Lagos was the son of Oba. Which one is that? No. A lot of persons get that history correct. Ashikba, Asikbaye Womare, was the grandson of Oba. He was the one who gave birth to Ado. So the first Eleko of Eko was not Ado, was Ashipa, was Asikbaye Womare. He gave birth to a son that now became the first Oba of Lagos. It's just like, how do I say it? In the Ishekiri, in the Warri history, Jinua was not recognized as a king of the Ishekiri because it never really got to the Ishekiri land. Jinua died at Ijala. He didn't get to the Ishekiri. It was his two children, Irame and Ijejen, that got to the Ishekiri, and two of them eventually became Olus of Warri. But Jinua is being counted as an Olu of Warri because he's their father. All right, not that he was accepted as Olu of Warri or as Olu of Ishekiri, as Ogiame, rather, as Ogiame. Not that he was accepted because he never really got to Ishekiri, to the Ishekiri. It was his two children that got to the Ishekiri, so he died on his way. It's the same thing with this Aishipa. All right, Ashipa, to an extent, was like a local head. It was not a universal or universally accepted king of Lagos until his son. His son was the one who was eventually. So he was like an Eleko of Eko. So that's why the title of his name was made out of a title and given to some chiefs, to a particular chief, which is now regarded as Ashipa. It was Asikbaye Womare, who was the grandson of Oba. He gave birth to a son that was called Ado. Well, that's what the Yoruba call it. His name is not Ado. His name is Edo. He gave birth to a son that was called Edo, and who became the first recognized Oba of Lagos. All right, but his father he was an Eleko, all right, more like, not like a king per se, more like a precursor of a king. I'm just trying to, Madam Eve, I'm just trying to make you understand. Isikba is the father of Edo. Edo became the first Oba. And that Isikba was the grandson of Oba. It was not. It was not. If Genoa is not a crown prince, it is not. It is not. It is not the issue of his acceptance of being a crown prince that led him out of Benin. It was the issue of the counsel that he gave. Well, he might not have been a crown prince, but by the Benin traditional law, he has a right to contest. Well, a lot of persons might not be happy about me using the word contest. There were times where the throne of the Oba Benin was being contested. It wasn't primogeniture. I've explained all of these things before. He has a right to contest. He has a legitimate claim to the throne, but not as a crown prince. Not as a crown prince. If there is a traditional law that states that the son and the grandson can be the Oba of Benin. So that's the grandson, which is in this case Genoa, has a legitimate claim to the throne. Then his uncle, which is the sons of Ewaina, which is Ozola, also has a legitimate claim to the throne. All right, both of them has a legitimate, but the only thing that gave the crown prince status to his uncle was because of the proclamation of his grandfather, of Genoa's grandfather, saying that all of his 3 children must first be crowned the Oba of Benin before the grandchildren will not be considered. So, however, he has a claim to the throne, but the one of Ozola was more legitimate. So, if he had been crowned as the Oba of Benin, he would have been, before Ozola, he would have been regarded as a usurper. He would have been regarded, though he can, but that is after his uncle. So that is why the Benins, though they did not like Ozola, but yet still went to bring Ozola, knowing fully well these were 2 devils. These were 2 devils. Genoa was one devil, Ozola was another devil. You have to weigh which one is more devil than the other. When they weighed it, they discovered that, well, Genoa would have been a better option, but he would be a usurper, and Ozola will come and kill everybody. Okay. All right. Have I been able to go through? No. Mr. Paul Philip, I think I've explained this 1,000 times. I've explained this 1,000 times. Please, I want us to pay attention to that again. As Packy JC asked the question, Ken Osumbo, he said, is the next Oba allowed to see his father, the current Oba, face to face? It came your Oba. It came your Oba. Okono Hua or Oba. See, the difference between Ezelehai, the difference between Crown Prince Ehenede Eridiawa and Obaewa II is a very big difference. It's like the difference between Miss Juliet Agbonifo and Mrs. Juliet Imaswen. It's a very big difference. First, as a miss, you bear your father's name. You have to get married before you can be a Mrs. Abi? That's how you both people talking. Therefore, you not carry the name, you not drop your father's name and carry the name of your husband. That's the difference. For him to be a crown prince, he must perform some selfing rituals. Then he now becomes an Edaiken. When the Benin said that Edaiken miobawao, Edaiken does not see his father, they were very correct because they know the difference between being an Edaiken and being the first son of the Oba of Benin. The first son of the Oba of Benin is different from the Edaiken. Let nobody confuse you. They are the same person. But that titles are different. Being the first son, if you are the first son of the Oba Benin, you are the first son of the Oba Benin. But for you to be an Edaiken, you must pass through some ritual processes that now gave you the right to the title of a Daiken. And at that time of history, you can no longer see your father's face to face. And that is what the Benin said. At no time as the Daiken had to see his father face to face. The Daiken Miobawa. But the crown, the Okonohua, the first son of the Oba can. There's a big difference between being the first son of the Oba. They are the same person, but there's a difference between being the first son of the Oba and being the Edaiken. I've explained this 1,000 times, and I hope you people should be able to understand this. Well, I don't think Benin will want any Oba to be an either Ewakbe or Zolwa. I don't think Benin will want any Oba to be Ewakbe and Ozolwa ever again. Hello? Good evening. I just want Yes. Yes, exactly. Well, the Benins are not ready to have an Ozolwa. I paraventure, if any Oba is crowned as Ozolwa, I will your pack from Benin. Iwa Remi. Ozolwa was too tough. I've explained 1,000 times. It was too tough, was too brutal, was too tough, was too brutal. Certainly. Yeah, Ovorame was another brutal king. Was very brutal. But compared to Ozolwa, he was manageable. He had allies. Ovorame had friends, had allies. Ozolwa had none. MLC, MLC. No, nobody in history can say that. Oshozolwa, it's not possible. like I told you, in deference, Aro Anthony, in deference, there was a proclamation that all the three children must be an Oba of Benin. In deference, like I told you, there are free trials. For the fact that that's Oba's proclamation does not mean that anybody cannot have, if Exotia died and Owe was just a child, he was asked to go and bring Owe from Isi in present Uhunde area to witness the burial of his father, not that to be crowned as the Oba. Even Owe won't have been also be crowned as the Oba, even if there was no even proclamation, because he was too young. It was a child that was less than 10 years. You can't give that so much responsibilities to that child. Otherwise, you have to first of all give an Edai. And Benins don't have that space of time to give an Edai. Otherwise, they will have to allow the throne to be vacant until the child grows up. But that was not even the case. The case of bringing away was not to crown him, was not to make him an Oba. He has a field. He has a contestable right. Like I said, he can contest, but it was not in his generation. He will have to wait for his two uncles, which is Olua and Ozolwa. So, but because Ozolwa never wanted any rivalry, either as at that time of history or futuristic history, he eliminated the first threat. All right, he eliminated the first threat. Then the second threat, they all fled. His elder brother, Olua, rejected to be the Oba, citing that his own younger brother will kill him because the guy was, sorry, let me not call him the guy. The prince was voracious. I don't want to use the word he was wicked. He was everything that you would not want to have as a king. So people were naturally scared of their lives. So not that kind of a person you want to be a king. The Benins were afraid of him. The Benins were afraid of him. So they didn't want him. So his own elder brother, Olua, fled and said he can't accept the throne. It is during that time that even when he was banished, he was already banished at the time, that Olua said he would not be able to accept the throne, that he would come from wherever he was banished to come and kill him. So it was during that time that their sister, what's her name again? Princess Deleyo, now accepted to be an Oba. Because you cannot create a vacuum of leadership. The sister now agreed to become an Oba, but during the process, she could not solve the process through. She ended a menstrual cycle. The menstrual cycle went on for weeks, and then they now said that Gile Okweme Barry Oba were doing all of that. So that's when Olua, they were not able to convince Olua. Olua now became the Oba and all of that. After Olua became the Oba, he also had a son who had the same mindset with his uncle Olua, Ozolwa. All right, and the Benin also knowing fully well that we are running from Ozolwa. We have another Ozolwa's reincarnate as his nephew. So we cannot allow Genoa to be an Oba. We cannot allow Prince Okpame Ozolwa to be an Oba. But instead, the Benins, that's the part of the history that a lot of books will not tell you, were without no king for 3 years. They become a republican state. That is what led to the big guys like the Nekiridi Nobelaka to create a section of the empire for themselves and now become an overlord of it during that years of interregnum. There was a 3 years interregnum between Olua and Ozolwa that is unaccounted for. You know, some of these things are not accurate as you think it is. There was a 3 years unaccounted for. There was no king in Benin. So when Benin was now gradually drifting into a republican society where people who had fought side by side with Ozola's father, which is Obaiwai, they were his comrades, like the Nekiridi and Ofogbelaka and all of that, the Ovatoni Giodumala, they were creating their own sections for themselves as their overlord. So it was gradually going out of hand. We're losing the central power that controls the entire empire. That is what, at the last resort, that is when it was of use that we have to go and bring Ozola, because it's better that we have a very high-handed king who is able to reunite everybody together than having a king, than having no king at all and drifting into a republican society. So when Ozola eventually accepted after so many talk until they did what the native doctor told them, I've explained all of this history before, he now became the Oba. Now when he became the Oba, the first major test that he had was not to fight outsiders, was to fight the enemies within. Because these comrades that fought alongside with his fathers, these incredible generals had already had sway for these 3 years that Benin had no king. So he had to contend with them. And contending with these people took a better years of his reign. It took better years of his reign before he was able to defeat all of them and have an absolute control of the empire. And that is where he missed it. I won't have an absolute control of the empire. He could have stopped and started to create peace. He was not a peace lover. He's not. I'm waiting this guy they call I'm no preacher of love in Daboski. He was not preacher of love, actually. Anyway, I think that's it. So Owe was brought not to become the Oba. I think I've answered that. I'm almost losing my voice. I've spoken about this, that Ozola never died I did an interview to some press guys, the Air Force blog and all of that. Okay, the interviews are not out yet. I explained it in details. Ozola was betrayed to the Uzier people. Sorry, I need to drink water. Ozola was betrayed by the Benin people to the Uzier people. There's no way the Uzier people would have been able to kill Ozola. I think I already did an interview on that. I think the interview will be coming out very soon. So once the interview, I'll just tell those guys that conducted those interviews to give me a copy of it so I can share it on this page. Your mom was right. She's very right. I couldn't tell which of the place that he eventually died. But I know that he has gotten to Benin before he died, but he was badly injured by a poisonous arrow. He was badly injured. That's because he was sold out by his people to their people because they were tired of him. All through his reigns, there had never been peace from one war to the other. He wakes up in the morning and wants to go to war. He wakes up in the morning and wants to go to war. He wakes up in the morning. Why? Some of these wars that he went for were unnecessary. They were unnecessary. EY fought necessary wars. But his son Ozola fought most of the wars. The first few wars that he fought, the inner wars, were necessary wars. But after he had been able to reunite everybody together, he started to fight unnecessary wars. So that's where he lost it. That's where he lost it. And there's no way he wouldn't have been defeated by going to Uzier. because I've told this story before, that the native man, the native doctor that gave the sham that was used in giving birth to Ozola was from Uziel. And the umbilical cord of Ozolwa was planted at Uziel. And a proclamation was made by his father, Ewai, that if any time any of these children dare go to war with Uziel people, they will not win. They will be defeated. So he knew that there was a prophecy by his father against Omano Wesenera. You know, when Ozola was giving birth, the native daughter was powerful. You know, you have powerful native daughters of the old. They were saw that this son was going to take war to the Uziel people and conquer them. And he told his father, this son that I have provided the charm for you will also come and kill me. And Ewai made a proclamation, if he dare kill you, he will never return. He will never return to the throne. And that's what happened. He went to Uziel, defeated them roundly. He was sold out by his people. He was badly injured. And when he got to, well, I don't know whether it was in Dokpa, but some people said around AC area of Umu there, maybe close to Dokpa. So maybe it could be Dokpa at Adoa bypass area. Then that's where he gave up the ghost until his body was now brought to Benin for proper burial. But what I can guarantee you is that he was sold out by his people. Was sold out by his people. Oh, no. If Uselu reporters, I don't think, if Obabara is to reincarnate, he must reincarnate as the first son of an Oba. Cannot reincarnate as a prince. He must reincarnate as a crown prince. That is how they reincarnate. They must reincarnate to be an Oba again. An Oba cannot reincarnate and be an honorary prince. He must reincarnate and be an Oba again. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I have some certain issues of well, but Oviedo Bataki, those are mythological constituents of history. They are not true. Those are not true. Those guys were roundly beaten. Those guys were roundly beaten. What led to the death of Obayawai the first? I can't say it. I know what led to the death of Obayawai the first, but I can't say it so that it's not a palatable history. So it shouldn't be. So that it doesn't have. It will sound if I'm to say it, it will sound embarrassing to the person of Obayawai. What led to his death? All right. But however, before he died, he had called two sets of people to draw him from Igun, to mold him, to draw him, to carve him. So he had a deformity of sort. So one carved him based on his present states, and the other one carved him when he was a young prince. So what did he say? No home I will say, no home have you Horion. someone should be able to. He said a parable that um, uh, I don't know, that one casted him when he knew the days of his handsomeness, and the other one casted him. Or when I do as it turn here, no one I will say ever will be horion. You know, that's a parable he said. But before he died, he had made a proclamation that he should not be buried with his forefathers at Ogbe, but rather he should be buried at a place. No one I will say exactly, no I will say. So that he should be buried in his maternal grandmother's village at Upper Siloko Basin, a place now called AC. AC is different from EC. AC. ESSI. ESSI. I think the last story my mentor, late Dr. Aisene Hagosa, told me was the day he traveled to see the graveyard, the grave site of the great L.Y.O. Gidigan. That was the last story he ever told me before he died. It's such a beautiful place. I walk better on Orewa. I mean, boy, will tell you. No, if you are talking about Nosaguero, Nosaigi, if you're talking about the finger, no, it wasn't the finger. The Oba whose finger was amputated was Obai Hengbuda. Hence an appellation. Ovikmiabo Kuru. Nogboduma. Ovikmiabo Kuru. Nogboduma. He had a whitlow. And he opened one of the doors, so he was injured. Whitlow entered one of his fingers, and eventually it was amputated. So, if you Eduna Ova, which is now one of the appellations of every Oba Benin, Owi Miabo Buru, Nogboduma. And that is why, from that instance of what happened to Obayang Buddha, no Oba was ever allowed to open door. So Oba video boy Biehu, Oba can never open door. That was because Oba were opening doors before. Alright, but after what happened to Obayang Buddha, it is now an abomination that Oba will open door. People will always open door for the Oba. So it is not Obayawai. That was not his deformity. That deformity was Obayang Buddha. No. Which of the Esan historian that was any Esan historian, not Facebook historian, wrote the way they wrote? Forget all those people. We couldn't have bribed Okojo now. Okojo said what he said. Don't forget that Okojo referred to Obayawai the first as a wicked Oba. We couldn't have bribed him to call our Oba a wicked Oba. In case they might not even have the original works of Dr. Okojo that was produced in what year was that? In the 1950s. I have one of the edition. I think it was produced in the 1950s. He referred to the Oba of Benin as a wicked Oba. So we also bribed him to refer to our Oba as a wicked Oba. Nomiowa will say, yes. Kevin Nice, very good. Nomiowa will say, Egyon abi horion. True, that was what he said. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I think I've been able to take quite some questions. I have to round up now so that I have one or two things that just came up. I need to quickly attend to them. as a matter of urgency. If you remember, I just received the call, and then I was told I really need to put those things together. So for some of the questions that I didn't answer, I think it's about one question or so that I didn't answer about the origin of Uguakwata, and I promised I was going to trash it. Uh, um, uh, uh, um, so I think I think we should be able to round up here. And I will think we've done over an hour. May it will not be one. So I'll have to thank all of you and who has joined us for today's edition of our program. So God bless all of you. And again, let me quickly also put it in your heart that um, um, I'm a land developer. To support me, you have to support my business. And so, and if you want to secure, if you want to get properties in Edo State, I do that. I sell properties in Edo State. I don't sell to Orioyo. I only sell to our people. So I only sell to our people. Quite a lot of our people have gotten properties from me already, and they can attest that it was not a difficult process at all. So and that is how I feel that I get encouragement, and that's how I feel I should be encouraged for my little contributions to uh, um, um, uh, well, his son really didn't take the throne per se. He vacated the palace for the son, but the son could have taken the throne because he was still alive. Oba Akembuda reigned for 54 years, and his son was called Prince Osifo, who became so wise. And I will not Osifo or Magia Agmomaido because he was so wise. It was not known, it was later to be known as Oba Obanosa. That Obanosa was a nickname that he's so wise that is like a god from God. His wisdom is likened to the wisdom of God himself. Obanoyiwosa, you know, because of his wisdom. He was so wise because, he has spent so many years as a crown prince, so he virtually knows everything going on in the palace. So it now became too wise. There was a judgment. I think we'll talk about it. I'm rounding up now. There was a judgment that he made that made Benin people to say that this surely will be the wisest king in the history of this land. I will talk about. Anybody should remind me so that I could talk about some of the wisdom of Obanosha. All right. Uh, um, Please, what can GBD do for Edo Stat to be remembered for? Okay, I'm rounding up now. I won't be able to answer that one. So on Sunday next week, Kasi Mose, we should be able to answer. I should be able to. We should be able to discuss about that. We should be able to discuss about that. Or what has GBD done for Edo Stat for it to be remembered for? Or what I didn't know the context of the culture. Or what have we done, or what should we do? Okay, so you paraphrase the question again, so I'll be able to answer it in our next edition of our class. Like I said, next week's Sunday is going to be loaded. I'm going to be giving information, and you all get ready. And we have to go to Ghana. We have to go to Ghana, and it has to be everybody has to get involved in that journey. And let's see how we can start putting resources together I'll make all of the inquiries. I'll talk to my Bobo Wolumo. I'll talk to my friend. He's one of his sons, and I'll talk to quite one or other two persons, and so whatever we agree upon, I will share with the house on Sunday. So uh, uh um so we'll not conclude. Why I was so I'll see you guys. I'm in a bit in a hurry. I'm so sorry. So I'll see you guys on Sunday next week, hopefully by 6:30. Why I was so in whatever we do, always understand that we are very unique people, instituted by God and our ancestors. We should not always forget that. We should always do something that we'll be proud of, our children will be proud of. We should do something that authenticates the uniqueness of the Edo race, being the truthful people, being the honest people, being the people with integrity, and being very straightforward. I've always spoke about all of this philosophy. All right, we must do things to portray the greatness of Benin Kingdom. We must start to do things the way our ancestors did things. We must start to conduct ourselves publicly the way ordinarily we should conduct ourselves publicly. So I appreciate all of you for joining me today. God bless all of you and ancestors. Bless all of you. Obara Chokbe, he said.